Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this installment of Americans for Clean Energy Grids Transmission Time webinar series. My name is Anjali Patel, and I'm the Policy Director for ACEG. We welcome both you and the panelists for sharing your time to discuss these important issues of cost-conscious transmission. A few housekeeping items before we get started. This webinar will be recorded and will be available on the ACEG website following the end of the event. The unmute function is disabled for attendee participants, but we welcome and encourage questions. Please put them in the Q&A box and we'll do our best to address them throughout the course of the webinar. For those of you who are not familiar with Americans for Clean Energy Grid, ACEG is comprised of a diverse coalition of stakeholders who are focused on the need to expand, integrate, and modernize the American high voltage grid in order to make America's electric grid more affordable, reliable, and sustainable. ACEG has several publications and resources on our website that we welcome you to check out. And of course, we host these transmission time webinars to discuss some of the most pressing issues regarding transmission, bring together diverse perspectives for engaging dialogue. You can find recordings of our previous webinars on our website as well. I'd like to introduce you to our distinguished group of panelists that are joining us today. First up, we have Caroline Golan, who leads global energy policy strategy for Google's data centers, working closely with executives and teams across Europe, Asia, and North America. Caroline is a global expert in market design and clean energy policy. Karen Honoran is the Vice President of the Electricity Consumers Resource Council, also known as ELCON, where she advocates for policies benefiting large industrial consumers of electric energy before FERC, the Department of Energy, and the North American Reliability Corporation and Congress. John DeStasio serves as the president of the Large Public Power Council, which is comprised of 27 of the nation's largest public power systems and advocates for policies that provide reliable service at affordable rates and promote environmental stewardship for consumers and communities. Next, we have Rebecca Tepper, who's the chief of the Energy and Environment Bureau in the Massachusetts Attorney General's Office, which is the statutorily designated ratepayer advocate for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Among other things, Rebecca leads the AG's federal regional energy team, including activities as a NEPOOL member, participation in ISO New England matters and FERC proceedings, and building coalitions with other states' attorney generals and consumer advocates on energy and environmental matters. And last, but definitely not least, we have Rob Gramlich, who's the founder and president of Grid Strategies, LLC, where he provides economic policy analysis for clients on electric transmission and power markets in pursuit of a low decarbonization future. He also serves as the executive director of ACEG. So welcome, panelists. Thanks, Rebecca. Karen, would you like to go next?
Sure, thank you, Anjali. And I'll probably be in 100% agreement with everything Rebecca just said. Again, I am the vice president of ELCON, so we do represent large consumers of electric energy, especially industrials and large commercial. So we represent a large portion of the load. And so all-in costs of power are very, very important to us and our members. Transmission, of course, is a big part of those all-in costs. And so we're very, very cost conscious about getting to the future grid that's needed. So, you know, Rebecca gave you a nice tight list. I'll kind of give you my maybe top three. I think, you know, one of the ways to, you know, reiterate what Rebecca said, I would say, first of all, we do need to use the existing grid to its full potential. I think that's going to be an enormous cost saving if we actually look at grid enhancing technologies, dynamic line ratings, anything that we can do to get more capacity out of the infrastructure that we already have. So I think that's step one. Step two, or, you know, what I think is another important aspect of being cost conscious, is right now our transmission planning tends to be a little bit too narrowly focused, and we really need to pull back and look more broadly at not just the needs of you know, one location or one region, but maybe look at perhaps an overlay that helps us understand where we're going to get the most benefit out of the infrastructure that we are building. The way we do it now, which is very incrementally, we have siloed it into economic projects, public policy projects, and reliability projects. And I think that that's kind of the wrong way to go at it. I think we need to look more broadly and see, what can this line actually do? Yes, we can solve a reliability contingency, or we could also improve congestion. We can also bring on new resources to the grid that will help also lower the generation costs that we have when we talk about the all-in cost. And then finally, I will say something that, may not be expected and may be a little controversial. With competition that Rebecca mentioned, getting the best cost-effective and efficient transmission built. One of the points I want to make is that the cheapest option is not always going to be the best option. Yes, we want to control costs. But if we're looking very narrowly and we're looking at, the cheapest, is that going to sustain our needs and continue to provide benefits through the life cycle of the infrastructure? So I think that we do ourselves a little bit of a disservice in the competitive process of automatically trying to go with the cheapest option. I think we need to be a little bit smarter when we look at competitive bidding to see which are the projects that are going to provide value in the future and not just what is the cheapest option at this point in time. So with that, thank you. Look forward to the discussion and happy to answer questions too.
Great, thank you, Karen. John, would you like to go next?